Sister was a freshman there, and I ended up going, and I was still in high school, but we drove down there to kind of have fun, and we were partying in the dorms and stuff at like 17 years old.
And you're like, I want to go here.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is wild. I mean, you come from a small town, you're like, that sort of excitement, that's a whole different degree.
Should have milked that like 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Van Wilder style. No, I put in enough time.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got out when I did. But yeah, so when my sister was there, I went for a Final Four game, and the game ended, and we had lost, and everybody rioted. And I'm like running around town just witnessing this mob mentality and riots at Michigan State where they're burning couches and flipping cars. And I'm like,
that serious for a loss?
Yeah, for a loss. I was like, this is nuts.
What do they do for a win? Yeah.
For a win? A little more peaceful.
A little more peaceful? Yeah. Okay. So why did you pack up the car and come to Vegas?
Well, in the hospitality school, I had the privilege of coming out here with a gentleman named Adam Miller, and he was running kind of this program where you would, instead of going on like spring break in Acapulco or wherever it may be, which I'd done before, it was like, okay, we're going to take the initiative to take these kids out to Vegas, meet with these executives, exchange resumes with them, and hopefully find an opportunity for, a position after college.
So it's time to get serious.
I met a lovely lady named Michelle DeTonda, who was she was the senior VP of Human Resources for MGM Mirage at the time, I think it was called. This was before the MGM Resorts, whole merger umbrella thing. And I gave her my resume, and we hit it off. And I decided.
Did you list all those jobs that you were doing with what was it, two students?
No, I mean, I was bartending in college.
Oh, were you?
So that was the biggest thing that got me into it. I was in engineering at first, wasn't doing so hot in Calc 2, so I had to pivot. And then I did construction management, couldn't make a 10-20 class. And one of my all this time I'm bartending at a bar it was called Harper's in East Lansing. And one of my regulars, him and his wife would come in, and I had no idea he had any relationship to the hospitality business school. And I'm just complaining about not being able to like pass classes. And he's like, you know what you need to do? You're good at this. Why don't you come down? And he was basically the counselor, and I'll set you up with your classes, and we'll get you in, and we'll get you on track to finish on time. How's that sound? And I was like, that'd be great, Ed.
What are the odds of that?
Oh, I mean, thankfully. I mean, as you've seen, in hospitality, you meet everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it changes your life.
So
Yeah.
What was it like working as a bartender?
It was great. It was great. It's not the healthiest job as being a student bartender.
Yeah. Probably makes some good money. It's probably hard to go to school.
It's the best money you can make when you're in college.
Yeah.
And in the Midwest, you can start bartending at 18 years old.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a job bartending. I did a couple gigs at this place called the Hitching Post in a tiny little town near ours when I was 17 in high school. Because nobody knew how old you were.
So can you drink at 18?
No.
But you can bartend at 18?
You can bartend. You tend to do both. But nobody really asks how old you are, you know what I mean? If you're running with the older crowd anyway, they just assume you're of age. But
so you were bartending at 18. That was
bartending.
Cool.
Yeah, I was 17 when I made my first couple of drinks.
What was the hardest drink to make?
You just didn't know.
Order that, or
people don't order complicated drinks.
No, it's just bars.
No, they want vodka sodas, maybe a kamikaze. Every once
so nothing
in a while.
Crazy.
Long Island. It's simple things. I started to expose myself. I mean, this was kind of when craft cocktails were starting to become a little bit more of a thing in other parts of the U.S. instead of just New York, San Francisco, L.A., etc. So. I'd pick up a magazine and look at some drinks every once in a while and get creative. But yeah, I mean, I really didn't have a fascination with them until I came out to Las Vegas.
Okay, so you came into Las Vegas, gave them your resume. Where'd it go from there?
I had a job in, it was kind of like a temp job. She didn't expect me to give her a call, but I did give her a call. And she's like, okay, I'll get you this gig. I did promise you I would. Right. This was like 6 months later that I ended up like shooting her an email. And it was in processing for MGM. So there was this little building next to the MGM Grand, and I would call people and get their I-9 information, make sure they had all the appropriate documentation to start the job, TAM card, health card, whatever it may be. And then I'd schedule them for their processing and their first training day. So I just call 80, 90 people a day and schedule them.
That's wild.
It was $11 an hour.
But it was your foot in the door.
I got a job. That's all I cared about. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because prior to that, I was washing cars in the mornings, detailing cars, finishing my class in the afternoon, and then going to bartend till 2:33 in the morning.
But it's crazy. Like all those other jobs you did, I think set you up for where you are today. And I'm just saying that from, I guess, experience, because I started at MGM many years ago too.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was out in valet.
Yeah. I mean, all those jobs, some of them are more difficult than others. Some of them are a little bit more rough around the edges than others. Roofing houses was definitely the hardest in the summer. But, when cleaning barns. But, yeah, I mean, all those things, they're the building blocks of what you get to down the road for sure.
So where did it go from there?
Well, I waited. The beauty of that position was I got to see all the job postings in the company. And that's kind of why she put me there. She was like, I can't give you a job right now that you want, but I can give you this, and you'll see the jobs that you want, and you can apply and take it from there. So I ended up applying for a job as an assistant beverage manager at the MGM Grand.
Okay.
And I got it. And I did, for a month or two, I did some day shifts, and then they elected me, being like the youngest buck out of school, to do the grave shift. So
for the whole hotel, or is this
hotel? Yeah. So all of the not the different partnership restaurants, but I would manage all the cocktail waitresses on the floor, the bartenders who are in the casino bars, the wells, everything. And yeah, I would go in at like 9 p.m. and I would, do the schedules and make sure the orders were in, and deliveries were done, pre-shifts. And then, I'd work till basically 9 a.m. the next morning. For about a year and a half, I did that. It's terrible. Horrible for your circadian rhythm and all that.
Yeah, I did. I was there with you doing many years of graveyard and valet. You can never sleep, when you get off. It's like you never get into this rhythm.
No, never. And at that age, you're getting out at 9 a.m., you're going to the bar, you're going to the BJ's that was right next to the MGM and hanging out with your friends till noon.
Right.
And then maybe sleeping from like noon to 7.
And then right back at it.
Back to work.
So where did it take you after that?
Michael Mina was opening a restaurant where the former Sea Blue was, which was one of his first restaurants. And it was called Pub 1842.
Right.
And the VP of food and beverage recommended me for that job. I really had even of that tier of dining, I had no experience. I didn't really know how to carry trays and plates appropriately or clean. But I was really good with the bar program, of course. At least the fundamentals and the orders and how the union worked and the CBA agreement. So they had me come in and open it as the bar assistant manager / bar manager of Pub 1842, buying beer. And
that was a good spot.
It was fine. Yeah, it was good. The menu was pretty good.
Did you know you wanted to be in the restaurant business then? Or
I knew I didn't want to be a grave manager.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to
get
answered
out. That question.
Yeah. I mean, I was very close to... Because I had a lot of buddies. I was meeting people all the time. Hakkasan had opened. And I'd be like, hey, do you want to come and bartend at Hakkasan? Seemed like a great idea, money-wise and all that. And I'm glad I continued to pursue management because, you just...
How did you say no to that? That seems like very appealing.
It was. It was. But I didn't want to take any steps...
back,
not to say backward, but I wanted towards the goal. I wanted to see how far I could go with the leadership roles.
Okay.
And I liked the idea of opening a restaurant. I thought that would be fun. And I liked the idea that I was doing something that I had really no idea.
So that's the point where you wanted one day to open a restaurant?
No, not at all. Not at all. I remember at that age, I was thinking to myself, okay, I remember at least when I was assistant beverage manager, if I'm by 30, I can be the director of this department. That's success, at least in the short term. And I didn't even go that direction whatsoever. I jumped into restaurants, which was great because...
Where did that turn?
Well, why? Well, I mean, because they were going to pay me more.
Okay.
So they were going to pay me more to go to the restaurant instead of work the floor. So I was like, okay, great. And then I just started to realize, the beverage departments or those big hotel departments, there's a lot of oversight from... You're really... heavily integrated with the CBA agreement,
right?
With all the executives.
People don't know how difficult that is when you're managing.
It's great to learn this business with all those restrictions because it gives you kind of a foundation of structure of how you could run a business.
Yeah.
But I wanted to learn about the finer things. I had a fascination with beer and cocktails still, and I thought opening a restaurant would be the best segue into that. And they have much more autonomy. Restaurant guys, the GMs, the people I interact with, they had way more autonomy than I did in this big department. Way more freedom with their staff, creativity. It wasn't just high volume numbers and, do I have to add a server here, a bartender here? It was, it seemed very boring to me, and restaurants seemed more complicated, more cultured. So switched it up. Then went to Bordeaux at the Aria, opened the Bordeaux.
Okay.
Yeah, which was great. And that's where I met Anthony, my business partner. And 6 months after we opened Bordeaux, he had been a server for a long time at that point.
What was he doing there?
He was a server.
Okay.
And I was the AGM.
Got it.
And we were just, we were chatting and decided we were going to buy the Sand Dollar Lounge.
Really?
It was up for sale, and a friend of mine, her parents were selling it. And I started thinking, okay, this is great. I mean, I had no money, but we were like, okay, this seems like a great idea to own a bar. Everybody wants to own a bar
right?
at that age.
I mean,
I was spending all of my money at bars, so I figured
spend it at my own.
The very least,
yeah,
I'll just spend it at my place. Rob 'em from Peter to pay Paul.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you guys bought it?
We ended up. So me and the director of beverage, or the assistant director of beverage of Mina Group at the time, were chatting about it. We went and took a look, and I was in love. It reminded me kind of bars that could have been anywhere in the U.S. You walk into that place, it's like, okay, this could have been on the East Coast, Midwest. It had this charm about it. And it was a dump, though.
Really?
Absolute dump. Yeah, they were only open 3 days a week. I think just Thursday through Saturday.
How do you make money opening 3 days a week? That's tough.
They weren't. That's why they wanted to sell it. So,
like,
and they were,
me.
a lovely couple. And I was like, sell this. I went up to them one night, had a couple of Pabst Blue Ribbons, and I saw them across the way, and I'm like, that's got to be the owners. I'll go ask them if we can buy this bar. So I just went up, had, a little liquid courage, and I was like, don't sell this bar to anybody else. I want to buy it. I'm friends with your daughter.
You knew it was for sale?
I knew it was for sale. They put up like a newspaper listing.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, please sell me this bar. Give me a little bit of time. I'll get the money together. And we didn't have any money. So I'm like thinking, I'll go sell my car and figure out how to put aside a little bit of cash maybe and find some investors. And then I go back to work, and I'm talking about this at work, and I'm all excited. And, Anthony's like, I don't want to serve anymore. And he was, I think he was engaged at the time. He's like, I'll go to my, future in-laws and ask them if they're interested. Maybe they're interested. And they were. And so,
really?
Yeah, I ended up having a little Zoom call with them or something. And they were, they were very impressed with how we kind of carried ourselves on the call, and they trusted Anthony's judgment. And
your experience. I
had a fair amount of experience,
yeah.
Not nearly enough, but I had a fair amount for my age. I was 25.
Oh, okay.
So, but I had been in and out of restaurants and bars for 10 years at that point. I started washing dishes when I was at least 15 after church.
So what year was this when you guys bought it?
That was 2015.
15, wow.
So we've had it for 10 years.
Wow.
9/11.
Tell us a little bit about the bar. I haven't been there yet.
Oh, you haven't been in the Sand Dollar?
No, I want to bring my team. Tell me a little bit about
please.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an institution. That bar's been around since 1976.
Where's the location?
Spring Mountain and Polaris.
Spring Mountain and Polaris. Okay.
Probably could have led with that. Yeah. Right off the...
I know.
Right when you get off the highway.
Okay.
Right. It's basically the head of Chinatown. And when we went in, its claim to fame was Bar Rescue. It was like this first season, 3rd episode of Bar Rescue or something.
Really?
So that show was really hot at the time. And they're still making episodes.
I'm going to watch that tonight.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There was like a gynecologist or something who owned it, and like the big dramatic plot twist was like him saying something inappropriate. And I don't want to bring that up.
Okay.
But watch the episode. It's interesting.
But they didn't rescue the bar, right?
Well, no, maybe not. They changed a bunch of things up. They called it Bar 702 because at the time I think it was called. But
it's not the owners you bought it from, right?
No, It went through a lot of hands. Mm. I don't know if some of these things are just rumors, but it must have gone through 4 or 5 different hands in a decade at that time. It was a bit of a dump, but
you've made it successful the last 10 years.
In the 70s and 80s, I think it was just a biker bar. It was a biker bar.
Is there any cool pictures of it back then, or?
Yeah, you can see some. That we still have. Like I have a coin that they used to put in the gaming machines.
Nice.
That a buddy of mine found in a shop. and bought it for us.
That's cool.
And then, yeah, you can see some of the old photos. Not dramatically different. I mean, when we went in, we had to clean it up. And we were all coming from fine dining, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Anthony had been in fine dining. You know, there were 3 partners at the time. Now there's only 2. But it's just me and JMO. But we were like, okay, let's create a proper cocktail bar, but keep all the other elements of this bar that people love, the live music, the charm where anybody can come in after work. And then let's draw all our industry friends in and get them, make it a place where people can come and gather after work for the most part. And that's what we did. And just build. And over the years now we're, one of the most popular bars to go through during the holidays. We do these big Christmas pop-ups called Miracle. We'll have 1,000 people come through on a Friday easily.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's wild. So it ended up being that was the most pivotal thing that happened to me in my career, was that decision to buy that bar, because it gave me this whole new way of looking at running a business. Yeah. Run it like you own it, regardless of who you work for.
Right.
Like if you're a assistant manager at the MGM, like run your department like you own it, and you'll be successful.
That's probably,
even if someone's writing you a check.
That's probably the best advice you can give people.
Yeah.
I mean, act as if you own the place, and
exactly.
Then people will follow you when you do, and you're prepared for that moment. So that's pretty incredible. What's the hardest thing about owning a bar or running a bar?
Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't recommend this industry to anybody. I wouldn't. It's very challenging. A lot of hours. So emotional intelligence, maintaining that. There's no balance. It's a lifestyle. I always tell anybody who's thinking about it, I'm like, this is not a job.
Yeah.
When you do this and you commit to this is a lifestyle. You wake up. This is part of your lifestyle, because if you don't change the way you think about it, it'll run you ragged. It'll destroy you, because there's no personal time. You're going to be texted by everybody.
Yeah.
There's going to be a fight. There's going to be someone sick. Someone's going to trip. Someone's going to, you're going to have an employee who's drinking on the job. Someone's, whatever it may be, So
that's not just in the movie, bar fights? That happens in real life? I thought that was just in movies.
I think the most recent fight we had was maybe a month ago.
Really?
Yeah, probably right before Christmas that week. Yeah. Or nothing crazy. What's wild is, coming from the Midwest, there's way more fights in the Midwest than there is in Vegas. There's not a lot of bar fights in Vegas.
What's the key to breaking up a bar fight?
I mean, making sure it doesn't start in the first place. The key is nobody needs to touch each other. Yeah. How about let's set that rule right out of the gate? Right. If you see someone who's upset, or it's gonna escalate, just try to find a way to calm everyone down. Yeah. Be the friendly orator in the situation.
Yeah.
Get everybody to try to eliminate as much ego as possible. Have humility. Yeah. Don't let your ego get involved. The goal is just to get them out the door and on their way. Yeah. Then your problem's solved.
Right.
You're never going to solve anything by it getting physical.
Yeah, for sure.
I bounced for a little bit in college too.
Did you? Okay.
I was always the smallest bouncer. And I realized, I saw a guy get a bottle broke over his head, one of my buddies. And a bottle broke over his head. The bottle smashed and cut. His ear was like hanging. And I'm like, oh God,
Was that your last day?
I was like, well, I went to the owner. Well, then it was like that same weekend, I saw one of the bouncers like push a kid who was like getting violent in the line with another guy, push the kid. He goes stumbling into the street and gets hit by a car.
Oh, man.
Like flips over the hood. He was fine. He's way more limber at that age, but he wasn't like in the hospital or anything afterwards. But I was just like, what am I doing? This is terrible. So I went to the owners the next day. I'm like, I don't want to bounce anymore. I need a job. You either make me a bar back or a bartender, or I'm quitting. And she's like, okay, you can be a bar back to start. And then 2 weeks after that, she made me a bartender.
So you're perfect to train bartenders. You got all the experience.
There's guys with more experience than me for sure. Chase has a wealth of knowledge with cocktails and spirits and things. Yeah. I had to distance. The more you get into the operation side of things, you have to distance yourself from the craft a little bit. Mm-hmm. You can find the things that you maintain a curiosity about, and, you sit in on tastings and learn about, different tequilas and mezcals and all sorts of different spirits, especially up there. But the primary focus when you get kind of into the ownership role, and it's just, okay, how do I, usually just a problem solver. How am I with the staff, with insurance, so I'm the guy in the businesses that generally kind of handles insurance, legal issues.
All the behind the scenes that people don't see, accounting
stuff,
and payroll and all that.
Yeah, you find a way to make it fun though.
Yeah.
And then you go out on the floor and you can still embrace and integrate with guests and do all those things too that are really enjoyable.
But I feel like what you're talking about, obviously I'm in real estate. It doesn't matter what business we're talking about. If you give everything to it and it becomes your lifestyle, I feel like that's the only way to be successful.
I think it is. I don't know. Yeah, no, because anytime that I deviate a little bit from that mindset, I fall off of just and I can sense it. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, I'm behind. I'm not making this my priority. And it has to be. You have to change your mentality. You can't get upset when you have to wash dishes for a couple hours because you had a call out. You can't get upset when you're short a busser and you're running around for 4 or 5 hours just nonstop. You got to put on a smile. You got to be like, okay, but this is a good problem to have.
Yes.
If I wasn't running around doing all these things, then we're not busy enough to be making money. So
that's what we prayed for.
It's good to get your hands dirty. And if people aren't texting me, then I'm probably not doing enough business or enough events or enough, I don't have enough plans in the works. So it's a good issue to have, and you got to step away occasionally, but you have to adopt a mindset that this is a lifestyle.
For sure. So how did it go from a Sand Dollar to La Casa de Juliet?
Well, JMO ran the Sand Dollar. He was the one who did the day-to-day because he didn't want to serve anymore. He's like, I want to get out of here.
Okay.
I was like, that's great because I have this blooming career.
Right.
As an AGM. And I wanted to keep doing restaurants at the time. I loved it because I was learning so much. You open a restaurant, if you're if you're young in the business, you're a new restaurant manager and you decide this is what I want to do, your fast track is open rooms. Go in, open rooms from the ground up. You will learn exponentially faster because you have to create things.
What made you fall in love with it, with the restaurant side?
I loved the intensity, the teamwork in the beginnings. I loved the openings. That's what the romance was in the openings, the creative, the, all the little finishes and the details in a room.
Right.
The pinstripe brushing, the scheduling, meetings with people who were selling us, different dishwashers or refrigerators and kind of figuring out which one was the best, which company was the best. All these different, problem solving and then putting the team together. Right. It's like, you watch the superhero movies where all the different, the guy who basically starts with nothing and then he's traveling the world and he's meeting all these other people and then finally they have the Fantastic Four or something like that. It's similar in restaurant. It's a story. This is this beautiful story and you're a part of the story from the beginning and you're bringing this team together to accomplish this goal. It's tons of fun. Always like 6 to 8 months after opening a restaurant, I was getting a little bored. Because I'm like, oh, I liked the process. And that's when, and then so I would jump around. And then MGM, I ended up going to Sage after that. So I continued to pursue restaurants.
Okay.
I jumped to Sage, which was downstairs. It was an amazing fine dining restaurant. They just threw me in there as the GM. It was kind of failing at the time. You just kept seeing declines in revenue. They threw me in there with these really hard-nosed, stern union servers and bartenders who I had to kind of, get to like me.
Right.
That was fun.
But you had the experience from MGM.
I had the experience from MGM. I mean, it was still under the MGM umbrella. And then Ari Castrati, he was either the VP or he had gone corporate at the time with MGM. He started putting me on different task force, going and opening like MGM Park. Nice. I went and helped do training at some of the venues there, like Beer House and Primrose. So I went and did the training. And then they gave me another restaurant. So all of a sudden, I've got my own bar that I'm a partner in, that I'm working, a couple days a week in on my days off from MGM. And then I was GM of 550 and Sage, which was like the pizza place and the fine dining restaurant. And then on top of that, I'm going and doing trainings and openings for MGM Resorts. That burned me out. And I'm like, a buddy of mine called me and said, you want to go to Hong Kong and bring Mott 32 to Vegas? And I was like, is it a Chinese restaurant? He's like, yeah, come to Hong Kong for a couple months, and then we'll bring this brand to the U.S. And so I 9 days later jumped on a plane for Hong Kong. Yeah,
for a couple months.
For a couple months, just lived in Hong Kong and learned about dim sum and all sorts of China, all the different regions, Szechuan food, yeah.
What was it like living out there?
Beijing duck. It was great. Very busy city.
Really?
You got a lot of expats, so there's areas of it that are just tons of fun, good nightlife. This was before, this is just prior to COVID and all the protests over the diplomatic changes.
Did you guys end up bringing that restaurant
Yeah,
here?
we have Mount 32 at the Venetian, so
Okay.
the Palazzo. So I came back, opened Mount 32 at the Palazzo, still did the Sand Dollar. And, it's cute. It's the best Chinese restaurant in Vegas by far, in my opinion.
You're teaching me a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we were going to talk about restaurants, but you've given phenomenal business advice. Because, like, when you talk about putting that super team together, and I feel like without my team, I couldn't create what I'm able to do too. So it's like a big piece of the puzzle.
And that's probably that's in most businesses, but your team is everything. The people you hire, and it's tough when you're putting. This is like, so for instance, Mod had 130 employees, maybe roughly, give or take. And where you got to do that from the ground up, like you want to rush it because you're like, okay, I got.
But you want to get the best
months.
people too. So
you got to spend 6-7 months just
putting a team together,
and all the other inner workings of a restaurant too. So, but prioritizing hiring the right people is critical, and it's important. It's anytime a restaurant company is coming to town and they're like, oh, say it's a New York company, they're like, oh, we're bringing this GM out from New York to run it. I'm like, don't do that. Hire a guy from Vegas
who knows.
Hire a guy who knows people in town, who knows the nuances of this business,
help get the buzz
of a casino.
Going. Yeah.
Who can, if not know them, make a call and get a good referral.
Yeah.
And so I didn't ever post a job for that restaurant. I hired only people I knew were referred to me.
Smart.
And it became this, you were brought on board because you had this little in. And that was really what helped me create a good team there. And it's very similar to the Sand Dollar. Except for pizza cooks, which are really hard to find. You have to post for those sometimes. Cooks are difficult.
Is that what you serve at the Sand Dollar Pizza?
Yeah, we serve pizza there. Yeah,
That's
you got to
awesome.
come in. I'm shocked.
I'm going to bring my whole team there for sure.
For
sure. I'm in love with your other place. How did that come in the picture?
Well, JMO and I, Sand Dollar's up and running for 8, 9 years, whatever. 10 years now, obviously. But like maybe 3 years ago, we started thinking maybe it's time we do. He always wanted to do a restaurant. He wanted to do like a Spanish tapas restaurant.
Okay.
And I was like, I like that. But like at our core, we knew French American food really good. I had worked in a lot of French American restaurants. We knew that cuisine well. And I think that would have been, so we started shopping around. We're like, and a lot of our friends were French chefs too. If they weren't French, they knew French cuisine.
Right.
So we're like, well, maybe we open. So we started shopping around for a French restaurant, a location. And we got through like all the hurdles at the early stages of opening that place, just up to like kind of signing the lease. And the landlord at the time didn't want to sublease it to us because I think he was waiting to get a better rate if there were changes in who held the lease.
Right.
So he didn't want us to sublease it. And I was really bummed. The whole creative process, you get so excited.
Right.
And again, that was my favorite part of it.
Right.
Oh, what are the walls going to look like? Aesthetically, what's the music going to be? We have this new empty room and we're going to, it's like creating a painting almost. And once you get the gears turning and you have that kind of entrepreneurial mindset, it's hard to turn that off. So it was very frustrating for me when that didn't go through.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And, so we took like a 6-month break mentally. And all of a sudden my buddy, he does commercial real estate. He shot me a text like, hey, we got this space. And when you're in the business and they know you own the Sand Dollar, we were known for owning the Sand Dollar.
Right.
They're like, okay, well, that's successful. They can be successful somewhere else. And if you've got this guy who's, he's constantly shopping for tenants and commercial real estate to do restaurants and stuff, they want somebody who has a track record, right? So after a while, after 10, at that time, it was, 7, 8 years, whatever, they're going to start texting you regularly. Like, do you want to check out this? Do you want to check out this?
Right.
And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'll check out anything you got. I'm ready to go. So, and we, first he tells me it's up in Centennial Hills. I'm like, the only time I even drive up there is if I'm climbing Charleston or I'm golfing at Paiute.
Right.
I'm kind of just driving past.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, year after year, there's just more houses up there, more roofs, more development. And when I went to see the space, just the quaintness of that little street, Norman Rockwell, it's beautiful.
I'm in love with that shopping center.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm in Vegas when I'm there. It's
No,
like
exactly.
I bounce from that Thai restaurant next door to you to your restaurant, and I just love that shopping center. I was like, I don't know. It's just that it's
beautifully done.
Yeah.
You turn that corner, you get off the highway,
Yeah.
right? You're seeing the mountains.
Uh-huh.
You turn that corner, and you're all of a sudden, where am I? This
Love
is
it, yeah.
aesthetically, the buildings are a little bit different.
So when you saw it, you're like, this could work.
Yeah, it had that same kind of charm I felt when I had walked into the Dollar that first time. It's like, ooh,
You felt it was the one. Yeah.
This has a story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a part of this community. There's nothing else up there. The Thai is great, obviously, but like in terms of like, you go to the Arts District or you go to Spring Mountain, like it's riddled with great places to eat. Let's go somewhere where every single one of our neighbors isn't immediate competition.
Right.
There's a ton of franchises up there, and
Well, that's how I found
like
you guys.
a stone's throw, there's 10 pizza places.
Yeah, like we don't have many options in the Northwest. That's where we have our farm in that area. So that's probably why you see me every weekend. But really, I would drive across town for your restaurant and everything you mentioned. And I like to show off your restaurant to my friends. We actually just had our whole team dinner there. We brought 20-some people.
Thank you for that.
But everybody who walks in just says the same thing. You walk in and it's just gorgeous inside. Like the attention to detail, the pictures, the music playing. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm getting the best old fashioned in town in a Mexican restaurant. Like I don't understand that.
That's Chase. You got to do proper cocktails.
It's
you can't not. If there's a way to do it.
But it's perfect every time.
Yeah. Well, if you go somewhere else and they're making it wrong, it's just whoever owns it, whoever's managing it, just either wasn't properly trained or. And people have their own way of doing it, but there is a way to do an old fashioned.
But the attention to detail, I mean, like, give me a nice big cube. Like, as soon as you're throwing a bunch of ice and I'm like, I'm done, right? Yeah. So you have the nice cube. Then he's peeling the orange instead of using, like, a dried orange.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know. It's perfect. And I love steaks, so I'm trying a lot of restaurants for that specialize in steaks, but yet you guys have the best hanger steak. And
the hanger. I tell everyone.
Well, my favorite when we were at MGM was Craft Steak, and I used to get the hanger and the skirt there. Mm-hmm. So now, like, that's what I'm getting at your place every weekend. What you just listened to was the most replayed moment. We have the full episode link in the description below. Thanks again for watching.